Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast, as always, hosted by me, Chris. Welcome, everybody. This is episode number 224. 224. As always, I would like to say that if you would like to keep up with everything I do when I'm not doing the podcast, you can find me on my Twitter and Instagram, both at Casting for Two, as well as keep up with the other podcast that I host called Sunday Brunch with the always beautiful and lovely Megan Johnson from tipsywriter.com. That can be found on sundaybrunchpod.com, as well as all other podcasting services. And as always, if you'd like to support the show, sign up for either Comic Bento or Spensa Box. There are links in the description, and as always, you can use the code CASTING2, that's the word casting and the number 2, to get some monies off your subscription. I would recommend doing that. If you don't, that's fine. I'm not going to pressure you. I'm not that guy. I'm just not that guy. So now wow, that was pretty smooth. I guess I should talk about my guest. My guest today is Ingrid Levin, and she is the creator and founder of a blog called IngridMadisonAve.com, and it's a wonderful site with wonderful writing. And I've shared the website with a couple of my friends just because it's very informational, and it's information that I feel like needs to be known today. It's all about, relationship advice, latest trends in fashion. She even does tech stuff, which is great. And so I can't recommend this site enough. And you know what? Honestly, Ingrid is a wonderful person, and she was wonderful to talk to. But I have to stop talking and get into this episode. So sit back, relax. Chris, cue the music, please. I'm not gonna lie. The idea of you hiding in a bathroom during this interview was very intriguing to me.
I'm sorry. I'm a New Yorker. We're always on the move. Come on now. We're always on the move,
get it.
So we try to make things happen no matter where we are.
And I can respect that. I would have loved to have said the first interview I've ever done while somebody was in the bathroom.
No. I was just trying to find a quiet place.
No, you're good. You're good.
So what are we going to talk about? Tell me.
So that is what we're going to find out together.
Okay.
Just because, it's a loose show where we can talk about whatever we'd like. Of course, you being the guest, I would like to talk about you and get to know more about you. Because that's the show.
Excellent. Okay, so what would you like to know?
So one thing I gotta know on the information about you, it said you were a certified guru.
Yes, I have over 29 years of experience, life experience.
Okay, so how is that what you need to do to become a certified guru?
Absolutely.
Yes. Really?
Yes, because I could have gone to school and had a master's in psychology, but yet I could never truly empathize or sympathize with a situation. And you probably wouldn't have gone through the wild things that I have gone through dating and living in Los Angeles and New York. And I think that anyone could sit anywhere and judge and look and give you clinical, but yet someone that has actually, been in your shoes can understand and give you good advice as to what their mistakes are, so that you can, actually have not someone that is not actually someone that actually feels and knows the experience, whether it's dating or just like lifestyle, life experience. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
of course, I have therapists that I work with for over 30 years as well. And
Mm-hmm.
the therapist could never actually empathize or, understand. They gave me a clinical view as opposed to me able to like talk to my followers or like interact with them and actually get to the bottom of something and help them and know and feel their pain. It's different when someone just talks at you as opposed to actually feeling your pain. And that's what actually, I think, what makes certain people so, like Oprah, she knows what it's like not having anything. So that's why people like
Right.
could relate to her. It's relatable when she had to make decisions, financial decisions, whether, putting money, putting using her money for gas or food. And I know what that's like too, when I was like struggling and modeling in New York. So I totally understand, as opposed to someone, telling you. They don't understand. It's very different. It's like having a sit down with your girlfriend. So I'm like the universal girlfriend for everybody. I'm like, I'm, that's how I like to help out a girl or a guy.
Yeah.
I've talked to many men as well. I've talked to my Uber or Lyft drivers, everyone. So it gets
I,
interesting.
I hope that's on your resume, universal girlfriend, or at least a business card.
That's funny. That's funny, Chris.
But but I'm very interested in knowing. So I mean, one of the things I'm fascinated with is just relationships, love, all of that. It's I love hearing people's stories. I love getting more into the mindset of said subject. Just because I am a male. I think like maybe 25% like a male. The other percent is me.
Sure.
So that's why when your name popped up, I was like, yes, I love talking about relationships and just the do's and don'ts. And so for you, I want to know. We all know that classic stereotype of what is romantic, like long
Mm-hmm.
walks on the beach and
Mm-hmm.
horseback riding, stuff like that. I'm curious to you, what is romantic that normal, people don't really think about? That's not the norm.
That's not the norm. Well, I would just say lately what's not the norm is people being true to who they are. Like if you're going to be a woman, if you're a woman, act like a lady. Don't act like a
Mm-hmm.
man. And if you're a man, act like a man. Too many of the ladies now want to be men. It's
Right.
unusual to me now, but like I'm always preaching about tapping into your feminine side, respecting men and not trying to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, like empowering a man and being supportive, let him be a man, let him open a door, don't argue with him. And it's okay if like there's, it's okay. I think a lot of women now complain about the men, but it's their own fault. They created the men that are today by hooking up easily. They've allowed that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dave Chappelle said it best. He was talking about women between their legs about stock. The stock went down as soon as like Tinder
Right.
was going on and like women allowed this behavior. And now there's all these, and I talk about it in my blog, there's all these different trends and names to like stashing, breadcrumbing, all of these like
Right.
benching, all of these millennial terms for bad behavior, when in fact, I think some ladies have contributed to this bad behavior by them acting like men and not like ladies. And certainly you have to know who you are. If you're a lady that wants to go run a Fortune 500 company and that you want to seek a man who's a bit more feminine, and you're for a lady that
Mm-hmm.
wants to be cherished, you're best served by being feminine and meeting a man who's masculine energy. And what I mean by that is like a masculine energy man will like pursue you,
Mm-hmm.
cherish you. He'll put in the work and not expect you to make the phone calls and pursue him. Women just have to be, men have to do. That's why men do a lot of things. They get the cars, they get the house, they do all things because, of course, they want to get the ladies. But when they get the ladies, they don't want to be competing with the ladies. They want a lady in their home, not a man. You don't want to wake up to a man. And some ladies think that it's okay to have hookups and sleep with men and think it's okay when we're wired differently. In fact, women, when they sleep with a man, they produce three things: serotonin, oxytocin, and this dopamine. All these chemicals are going through your brain. So you instantly, like, even though you say you're not going to fall in love with the guy, you do, because it's your brain. It's all these chemicals going through you. Women think straight before sex. Men think straight after sex.
Okay. Okay.
After you've done your deed, you think straight.
Right.
But before you're not, you're
Right.
saying yes to everything.
uh, yes.
so,
Confirmed.
so I think everything now is kind of the way it is based on some ladies thinking they can be a man, when in fact it's okay to have the feminine energy. It's okay to have that. And it's okay also to have that male energy as a woman, but just know you can't be with a man who has masculine energy, because it's going to be two chiefs fighting in the household. And you need your opposite. It's like the yin and the yang. But I really preach a woman tapping into her feminine energy to get the love she wants. Like, you just want to hook up and that's your thing, that's great. But if you want love, commitment, and stability, I always believe that, you have to know who yourself is first. Are you a feminine that has male energy? Go find a feminine style man. If you're a woman that has very feminine energy, go find a man who's very masculine, who will cherish you. And I think that there's no norms anymore or anything
Yeah.
abnormal, because it's all really up in the air. So it's like, it's very, I think there's oftentimes men complain as well that women don't allow them to just be and do their thing. It's just like there's, you are your own entity as a woman in your own space, have your own life, and then come together. So there's no, I think, concrete view. It's like the rhythm of each person. And also it's like me trying to say, oh, okay, there's no conventional marriage. It's like, it's defined by what a relationship is defined by they want, so like if
Right.
you have, for example, there's like 3-4 different styles of relationships when you live together. There's a convenient relationship where everyone puts 50-50 into the bills. And then there's a codependent where one is more dependent on the other. And then there's one where the woman is cherished and the man takes care of her. And there's many different types of relationships. I don't think there's one that's abnormal anymore, because everything is in a state of flux. I mean, hey, there's men turning into women.
Right.
There's like, and that's a whole other thing. But I don't think there's any abnormal. It's kind of all abnormal. It's kind of all abnormal right now.
Right. And yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten scowls at from women because I'm holding the door open. My parents raised me to be a nice boy with manners, and one girl accused me of trying to hook up with her. I was like, oh, from a door, from holding a door? It doesn't make any
Insane.
sense to me. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Insane. And then she's wondering why she can't find a man.
Right. Yeah. Well,
And then
whatever.
that's the female energy that wants to set the world on fire, be a CEO, but she needs a female energy man who's okay with that.
Right. Right.
And
Um,
sometimes it just doesn't work if you're too, a lot of ladies now, they're too, I am woman, hear me roar. And I know it's not very popular to say this, but
uh-huh.
I think it's hurting them. Some
Okay.
women, I think it's really hurting them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's now once again, I will come from from my male side. I can't speak for all the males because I don't want to be honest with you. It is definitely. I feel like when it's the I am woman, hear me roar. I feel like I am always constantly walking on eggshells, just because I can't. if I do something, I get in trouble. If I don't do something, I'd get in trouble.
Right. Right. So there's no set rules. I think it's you have to just kind of go with the energy of the person. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's one of these things where you just have to like get to know and like you have to be in different scenarios with them. You know, even walking into a restaurant and you're checking in the reservation, even though you made the reservation, if you see her like literally like elbowing you and like going in front to talk to the hostess, you're like, okay, this woman has male energy,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
as opposed to like staying in her lane and keeping her side of the road clean and being a lady.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. What other? I'm curious now. What are other signs that she might be a a female, masculine kind of type?
Um, energy, exhibiting male energy
Yes.
conversations with you where she's competing as to who did how many accolades you got versus hers,
Oh.
trying to one up you.
Okay.
Sometimes ladies could do that, and that's how you know they have male energy. Also, seeking validation from work, from what they've done, like seeking validation from things and or people that really don't matter. It's like they really have a need, almost like a man, to feed this
Okay.
ego,
Yeah.
as opposed to listening, taking in what you're saying, being present, and interested in what you're doing in your life. And sometimes it could be they could disguise themselves, but overall you will see by the behavior, the looks you're going to get if you made a comment or making an observation, you'll see where they stand. But I could assure you one thing, and I've seen this many times, even with female that have male energy, they will
Mm-hmm.
expect you to pay on that first date. That's the crazy thing. They want you
Right.
to pay on the first date, yet they want to
Yeah.
like wear, something else between their legs other than what they have. Being, being proper for your show.
Right. Well, I mean, I appreciate that. You don't need to though. It's all good. But
Yeah.
to now, okay. So first date scenarios. What? And now I'm asking more your personal. What is your ideal first date scenario?
My ideal first date scenario is because I'm female
Mm-hmm.
energy where I like to be cherished. My first
Okay.
date scenario is obviously it's pretty basic and traditional. It's nothing earth shattering. It's just, guy calls the girl, they ask me out, stay in touch on that night, like make the plans. I'll either meet him at the event or he'll come pick me up at the for a restaurant or anything. It's pretty simple. It could be like a brunch. It could be
Okay.
pretty much simple, but as long as the guy like stays in touch, makes like does the reservations or asks, is it a place that you like? Just being cognizant too as to, hey, not that he has to ask me, do you have any allergies? Can I book a place that has gluten free? Like he doesn't get that detail, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be
Okay.
that detail, but overall, like just like stay in contact, let me know where we're going and I'll be present.
Yeah. Okay. Now, have you ever
Yeah.
had a bad first date scenario where they're like, "Hey, we're gonna go play laser tag."
Have I had a bad first date? I've had many bad first dates. I've had a first date where it wasn't even a first date. It
Mm-hmm.
was a ego fest. For example, it was
Oh.
a guy who was in the oil and trading business in New York. Believe me, in New York, you see a lot of characters. So he was in
Right.
the oil
Right.
and trading, and then he basically was sitting with like three girls. He was basically talking very loud and grabbing one of the girls saying, oh, I have very
Mm.
strong jiu-jitsu hands. And I was like, this is a date or did you ask me out? Or like, this is so weird right now. And then he goes on a conference call to talk to Japan, Brazil, like all these places. I'm like, he's trying to flex right now. And he's trying to be like, he thinks this is sexy. This is so not sexy. And he's like trying to be like obrigado and like talk like in Portuguese, and I speak Spanish. I'm French Colombian, and I was like, is he really doing that? Like, it's crazy. Instead of being a gentleman, getting up, saying,
Right.
I'm so sorry, I have this conference call. I have to like go across the street or whatever. Go to the corner. Do whatever. Just don't do it in front of me in massive amounts of people. Like, you're flexing and you need to impress. It's not necessary. So that's like one. That's like one of the. I've had a lot, but that's like top of my head. There's
I
a
just
greatest
like
hits moment. Yeah, it's like one of my
right.
top greatest hits.
I just like the idea of, what time is it, you ask, and then he flexes to look at his watch.
Right? Yes. It's like, how? How?
It's
Well,
yeah,
you know what, but that's like a great way if a girl is part of, these girls in New York, they've been doing these, there's a gang of them that go to all these places and the guy falls asleep and then they take their watch. It's like, oh, great.
mm,
You just did all that to get robbed, you idiot. Like, yeah, it's really, I think there's a lot of bad dates. For example, I have friends that have told me, they're on a date with someone and they'll walk away from the bathroom when the bill comes and they're taking their time and the girl's like, are you going to pay for this or whatever? And it's like,
ooh,
oh, and they'll put it in the middle like, oh, we're doing this like half and half, right? It's like, because my friend runs, she runs a pharmaceutical company and she
mm,
does very well. And the guy is like I don't know what, he's not at that level, but he expected her, based on her position, to pay for dinner.
um,
So he pushed like the bill in the middle. It's like, wait a minute, you asked me out. Now you want me to
right,
pay because you found out what I do for a living. So there's
mm,
those types too. Like, I'm all about covenant, old school, traditional relationships. Like, it's nice when the guy treats you like a lady, and hence I will respect this man because I'm respectful and I'm very appreciative that he's taking the time to take me out. And I'm very covenant related, old school lady type, as opposed to, I'm gonna go braless and you're not gonna open the door for me. How dare you? Like, that's just not my style. But
right,
I respect it, but I
mm-hmm.
think it's contributed to the behavior that we have now with men, that men don't know what to be anymore. They're confused.
Right. I understand. I understand.
Like you.
Yeah, I am confused. No, it's
Right. It's
I okay. So I had one scenario that it makes me laugh to this day because I don't feel like I am that. But it was a first date. We were chatting. I'm a dinner and a movie kind of guy. That's what I like to do. Uh, so we do the movie. We go to dinner,
mm-hmm.
and the entire time she's just kind of tuning out, and
Ooh.
I'm just yeah, and already I'm just well, okay, well, maybe she wanted a meal, whatever, that's fine. Who cares? And then we're talking later, and she tells me that I wasn't interested, and I go, what? I'm not the one who was tuning you out at all. And it came out that she was intimidated by me, and I go, really? I've never heard that in my entire life. What was intimidating? And she goes, I just
Interesting.
yeah,
It sounds like a
she's
very immature person who's not secure with themselves.
right. And but her response was just because I was asking questions.
Right, but no one can intimidate you unless you allow it, and unless you think less than yourself.
Right, right. And so that's probably my weirdest experience, just because I don't know. I don't think I'm intimidating.
No, you seem quite fine.
No, thank you, thank you.
No, you're asking very, very
No,
apropos questions. But yeah,
I
no, it's definitely. I think when someone says that, it means they're not sure of themselves, and they're
right.
focused on you liking them as opposed to being authentic and just being themselves and
Mm-hmm.
being comfortable with who they are and just enjoying the space, the time that you spent to come out that night. And they obviously are not, they're not comfortable with themselves, period, in order to
Okay.
feel this way, because no one can make you feel that unless you allowed it. That's on you, not, she's projecting, basically. All she was doing is
Right.
projecting.
Right. I mean I haven't talked to her since, so It is what it is.
But it's actually,
Um,
you know what? I always think it's very good. It's great when people leave. It's great to have bad days because it just brings you one step closer to who you need to be with. It's fine.
exactly.
It's like let's just get through this. Let's just go through it. You know, I mean, it sounds terrible, but it's just, you know, I mean, you got to be like a guy. You got to be like Joe DiMaggio. You got to just hit it.
Exactly.
Well,
You know
you know
what?
what I mean.
Right. I got dinner and a movie out of it, so I was okay.
At least you were entertained by the movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
I hope
Yeah,
it was a good movie.
it was La La Land.
Oh, fun. Okay, that's amazing.
Now, I want to ask you something. There are terms that I wasn't familiar with before chatting with you, but since have become familiar with. Words like breadcrumbing, duty
Hmm.
dating, stuff like that. Are there any other words or terms that I should know about?
Oh my gosh, we don't have enough time. No, I'm just playing.
I'm
I just
fascinated with these
wrote,
terms.
okay. Well, I just wrote about, well, here's a quick one for you. The day before yesterday, I think, or yesterday, I wrote about drafting.
Okay.
So, and then last week I wrote about cuffing. So
Oh.
basically drafting season begins after summer. And what happens is after all the barbecues and everything, everyone's schedule is, you know, really busy. They start to think, okay, I want to be cuffed by the winter, especially here in the Northeast and New York and, you know, Boston. All these places gets very cold and lonely and dark quickly, like 4:30. So people want to get cuffed. They want to be watching Netflix. They want to get fancy between the sheets and
Hmm.
they don't want to be alone. So what happens is that they go on as many dates as possible during the month of September after Labor Day
Okay.
through just like around like now Halloween, and then they want to be cuffed by the holidays, so they have someone to take like for the holidays.
Ah.
Yes, and then by Valentine's they get bored and they unless there's something more substantive,
Right. Well, I
they
mean,
break up.
Easter's coming up, so maybe.
Even before Easter, people break up because they feel as if, okay, I got like, you know, I got a good winter out of this.
Right.
I had consistent sex. And you know what? It's not working out. It's Valentine's. It avoids me to have to give a gift. I'm out of here. So even
Right.
before Easter, this happened.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I like the term. Not maybe not so much the act.
Oh, cuffing or drafting season.
Drafting season.
It's called drafting season.
Okay. What was the other term?
Cuffing. Cuffing.
Okay.
And that is basically the term that is used when people are in relationships in the winter.
Okay.
And
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Wow. All right. See, I look. I live under a rock, and I don't know these terms, and these are terms that I want to know.
oh, of course, no, absolutely. It's in my blog at IngridMadisonAve.com, so you could always keep up on the latest dating trends that is really happening because I do research literally on an hourly basis on this stuff. It's like I live and breathe it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, is there just because we're getting into the holiday season?
Yes.
Let's say I want to impress some, and I get not every woman is the same, but is there kind of like a pretty neutral gift to give somebody?
A neutral gift to
Yeah.
give a woman.
Yeah.
You know what's a neutral gift is I know this is going to sound really crazy, but women love candles.
That's
And
true.
that's a
Oh my
neutral.
gosh, yes.
I know it's like it's gonna sound crazy. That's the most neutral gift you could get, but get a nice one. Like go to Saks and put effort into it, and go to get a deep one.
Okay.
But it definitely is a gift that's neutral, that doesn't cost a lot, but means a lot.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I like this. I like this. But for the people at home who would like to keep up with you, the blog, just you in general, where can they do that?
Well, a couple places. On Instagram, it's Ingrid Madison Ave, AVE. And on the blog, of course, IngridMadisonAve.com. And Twitter, Ingrid Madison A. and I definitely post daily, and it's random. It's mostly dating, sex, relationships, and beauty, but all in technology on Sundays. So we got to, I mean, I got to teach everyone, what's the latest, greatest in technology and keep up.
Nice, nice. Ingrid, I just want to say you have been an absolute delight to chat with.
Thank you. Thank you for having me so much, Chris. This is so wonderful.
I
I cannot express my gratitude enough. This is pretty amazing just to chat with you and your Casting for Two podcast. This is really incredible, and I am going to follow you right now.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. The only hiccup is I wish this was done in the bathroom.
Well, it's done in a staircase it's an emergency staircase.
It's okay. It's okay. That's for the second date. We'll do the podcast in the bathroom.
You got it. Okay, I am subscribing right now.
Oh,
there we go.
Thank you.
Officially subscribed to Casting for Two.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
But I will let you go back.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And you have a fun time, okay?
Amazing. Have an amazing night. Thank you for having me, Chris.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Good night. Bye.